Hey, so I was sitting here thinking about what it truly means to be a team player, and there are some things that just got downloaded to me today about what a team player truly is and what a team player truly is not. I think in my life, many times I thought that I was a team player, and then it turned out that I was not such an ideal team player as I thought that I was. So maybe about maybe no, about 6 years ago or so, I was given a book to read called The Ideal Team Player, and I was I'm in a few masterminds, and in one of the masterminds I am mastering emotions, and it's with an amazing and beautiful friend who is mentoring us through emotional mastery. And the topic of team player has come up in there on my behalf. And so I have been thinking about what it's truly like to be a team player. I know that many will use the word team loosely, but for me, it's hard to call people a team when I see actions that, and I know what I'm about to say might ruffle some feathers. So if you don't like to be triggered or activated, then this is your chance to log off. If you are ready to be triggered and activated, it means hearing the things we don't want to hear. And it also means getting over with, who do you think you are? You think you're better than everybody. No, I don't. I just have a message to say. And it's about a team player. I think many of us desire to be a team player. And I say I think because many will call themselves a team player, but then their actions, when observed, I have something in my eyeball. Their actions, when observed, actually not only defile a team, but also tear down a team. And even in what I type, when I type out certain emails, I don't always use the word team because it's like not everybody is a team player. And so I don't use the word loosely. So there are people who are team players who actually have certain skills that sets them apart where where you're like, yes, I enjoy working with that person because I'm respected, I'm loved, they don't talk to me in a rude manner. They don't almost like, there's a thin line, I believe, that people, that bully people. And sometimes people are unknowingly bullying people, where they will unknowingly start crossing lines, and it's like, I don't think you're aware, but you better back up and stop, right? So there are people that add to the team, that add value, that have the people smarts, that have the humility, that have the hunger and the drive to grow, that don't complain, that don't vent, that don't bring down the team. It's those who uplift the team, who when they walk through the door, you're like, I enjoy working with them because they bring out the best in me, not the worst. They don't complain. They're not negative. Their energy raises the environment. They don't coddle me. They don't, do all these things, but they really encourage me and spur me forward. And I love working with them because they have these attributes as a team player. I believe I was called on this earth literally to disrupt many things, disrupt ideals, disrupt the norm. I'm going to take a drink of my water. Disrupt the way things have been done. To disrupt environments, disrupt the status quo. I have been called to do that, and I have run from that. I have been like, oh God, what on earth? Because sometimes I don't want to do that because it's scary, because it's not that I'm calling people out. In a sense, I am calling people out. So those who watch this, I know that there are people who are going to be watching this and they're going to be like, are you talking to me? Is this video about me? No. My comment to everyone who personalizes things, that are said is, if the shoe fits, kick it off. That means you can choose to put on a fence, or you can choose to kick it off. So if it does apply to you, then it applies to you. It just means that there are areas in your life that need to be looked at, right? Assessed, taking an audit. And I have this book in front of me. It's called The Ideal Team Player. And in my personal, and this is just my personal opinion, I do a lot of things behind the scenes so that I can be my best in every area of my life. This includes my job. This includes parenting. This includes marriage. This includes my marriage. This includes my coaching. This includes being a grandparent. This also includes being able to get on here and do these lives without worrying about what people are going to say or do, or, you know. So what I do behind the scenes, I have since 2011 invested over 6 figures into myself. This involves coaching, books, nutritional products, plane rides to conferences, all kinds of stuff. Investing into myself, investing in mentorship, coaching, masterminds, all the things to help me in my life so I can grow and I can continue not being who I was, because who I was isn't who I am now. I can't carry that with me. So being part of a team. So I'm going to ask you a question. Do you see yourself as a team player or as a team destroyer? Now, many want to be in the first category of, yeah, Tiffany, I'm a team player. Yeah, I know how to be part of a team. So there is it. Hey, Brenda, how are you, gorgeous? So in reading this book, it's called The Ideal Team Player, and it's by Patrick Lencioni. Okay. You can go buy it off Amazon. I did. Okay. I'm not going to post the link for you. You are big grown folk. Okay. Put on your own underwear. And in the book, he talks about, it's like recognizing that you are a team player and that you give to the team and that you add to the team instead of subtracting from the team and taking away from the team. So I'm going to ask some questions, and this is your assessment today. And many want to be in the first category of, yes, Tiffany, I'm a team player. I show up. I give it my best. I clock in. Or maybe you're a part of a team that isn't a job. Maybe you're a part of a team at your church. Maybe you're a part of a team. Team means any environment that you are with a group of people, with a collective on the same journey. Okay, it could be football. It could be Bible study. I guess that's a team. Maybe not. I don't know. It could be a workout team, right? Workout partners, right? People get on teams to go accomplish something. So are you someone that changes the environment when you walk in? Are you someone that brings the energy? Do you have humility? Are you humble? When you go to speak to somebody, do you speak to them in a kind, loving, firm manner? Or do you speak to them with a tone? Do you speak to them in a bullying fashion? Do you speak to them in a way that causes guilt and shame? Do you tear down the team by gossiping? Do you celebrate the team? Do you get annoyed with how things are and start complaining about everything that's happening on the team in whatever environment you're in? Well, yeah, Tiffany, I'm a team player. Hey, Sarah, how's it going, gorgeous? Yeah, Tiffany, I'm a team player. I show up. I clock in. I give it my best. And yet, I may not give my 100%, but I still show up. And I might not give my all because, you know, the energy here is just not that great. And I just don't feel like being around people. But I'm going to do somewhat of my best. And I'm just going to then clock out and go home. Is that being a team? I know this is very controversial. Miss Sarah, how are you? I miss your face, by the way. And so there are some things that have been brought to my attention about how I have been getting treated that have caused me to look at myself and also how I'm being treated by others. I put up a post, which is a little bit not controversial. But I know that by me speaking up, it will give others the courage to speak up as well. I'm going to talk about my quietness. You ready? So, most of you who know me, you might know me as a fun, right, energetic, high energy, change the environment type of a person, right? Celebrating, encouraging. I will call you to see how you're doing if I haven't seen you for a while, right? And good, girlfriend. Yes, keep speaking up. Yes, your voice is beautiful, it's important, and it's powerful. You've got a lot of great things to say too, okay? So many people will know me as the like encourager, uplifter, in every environment I'm at, everywhere that I go, that's what I'm known for. And I don't do it for gold stars. I don't do it for popularity. In fact, this might shock you, at my, where I go, I know a lot of people, but I'm not popular. Does that make sense? There's only, wherever I go, and I'm not just referring to one place. I want to make that very clear. I am not just referring to one place, though a lot of my experiences happen at this one particular place that I go. I know a lot of people, but it doesn't mean that I'm popular. There are people whose faces light up when I walk in the room, and there are other people whose faces are like, oh shit, she showed up today. Great. And their faces don't necessarily light up because they're like, oh no. Tiff says what other people are not willing to say. I do. So, Tiff does things differently. Tiff doesn't gossip. Tiff doesn't vent. Tiff, we will exclude her. I've even caught people talking about me, and they have no idea to this day that I caught them talking about me and gossiping, and it's like, that's not being a team. Team does not include gossip about other people. And this could be any team. It does. So when I talk about team, it's any team that you are a part of. Gossip is horrible. It actually shows me that people who gossip can't be trusted. Period. Doesn't matter. Whether it's family, job, whatever the case may be, wherever I go, if I'm part of a team, if I see people gossiping, I will purposefully and intentionally not share certain stuff because I know that I have been a topic of gossip. I've heard about it, and it hasn't been fun, and I was like, oh, okay. So, knowing that, I'm like, well, now I have to be intentional about the conversations I have and with whom and what I share, because not everybody is to be trusted. So, being a team player, by the way, if you haven't read this book, go get it, because your eyeballs will be opened and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, because when I read it, I thought I was a team player, right? I really did. But then when I read it, I was like, oh shit, I am not much of a team player that I thought. And I have done a lot of work on myself. I still do a lot of work on myself behind the scenes. So there's a behind the scenes with Tiffany that many don't know, but those closest to me, and if you are watching, you will know that I work on myself behind the scenes, and I pay money. I continue to invest in myself monthly to make sure that I am working on myself, because I cannot be a team player without working on myself. Yeah. Working on myself is important. I believe, in my honest, humble, and this is just Tiff's opinion, that the world according to Tiff, I believe everybody who was on a team should be required to read things like this. Okay, ready for a story? Story time with Tiff. So before I got the job that I have now, I literally was offered a job at a car dealership, and they require their employees to read, and I wouldn't say self-help books, but growth books. They require them to read it, and then they require like a report to be given once a month. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, finally, there is a culture that desires everybody to get their mindset right, get their hearts right, learn how to deal with their emotions, emotional intelligence. What does that look like? It means mastering your emotions so that you are not taking your stuff out on other people that causes people to walk away feeling down, depressed, uncertain, filled with lack, shame, all those words, right? Like when you go around certain people, you feel like you have to take a shower, right? And then when you're around other people, they fill up your cup. Find the people that fill up your cup and literally run from the people who make you feel like you suck, or that when you get around them, all they do is complain and gossip and vent. It's like, let's switch up the conversation. What I really love are the people that have, since October 2021, I went through a really dark time because I found myself, that was right around the time where jobs were threatening that you would be fired if you didn't get the thing, okay? The big V. So I went through a mental health crisis, and I remember complaining and venting, and so much so that I almost walked myself off my job. And I went into a really dark spiraled place. Many don't know about this, but now many of you will know. And so I had to take 3 mental health days off and of my job. And I was like, well, gosh, I feel like I need more. And I know that this is emotional for me to talk about because I can feel my heart skipping a beat, because it's like stress-induced words, right? Okay. So I took 3 mental health days off, and it wasn't welcomed by the powers that be. And I was like, oh, well, I will either come to work as one piece, or I can come to work as a basket case and tear down the whole department because I didn't know how to master my emotions. But thankfully, this is the key tip. Are you ready? In order to be an ideal team player, yes, I know it's the title of this book, so I'm going to use it. Working on ourselves behind the scenes is essential so that we can master our emotions, so that we can walk through uncertain times and navigate through so that we can come out stronger and walk away with a game plan. And that's what I did. I got in the space of my mentor, who has been my mentor since the end of 2020. No, the end of 2019, excuse me. The very end of 2019. And she literally, in 3 days, I learned a strategy. I learned several strategies. And I learned how to bounce back from getting into the pit that I had put myself in. And so I say that because it is essential when you are in environments that tear down your energy, tear apart your energy, and just weigh you down. Anyway, in any area of your life, it doesn't have to be a place where you go to clock in. I use that as an example because that's what I'm talking about. And that's a place that many of who I'm even connected to go to, right? It could be any place. It could be any people. Having that support, having that encouragement, and having the help as you go through tough times, getting the mentorship. Even if you have to get a therapist, please, by all means, go get one. You're hiring them. Please do the interview. And if you don't like them, find another one. It's okay. You don't have to stay with the same doctor or the same therapist. You are in charge of your own health care. Okay. Having a support system to help you navigate through the tough times will help you to continue to remain humble. Will continue to help you navigate through and master those areas that you might be struggling in. Many don't know how to leave their crap in their car before they walk through an environment in which in 0 to 60, people are tearing it down because when they open their mouths, they're complaining. They're being so negative. They're venting. They're gossiping. They're trash talking everything. And it's like nothing positive is coming out of their mouth. Oh yeah, and then they're complaining about their cat I'm just like, oh my gosh, do you have anything happy going on in your life right now? Like, this is where the conversation ends for me with you because you are bringing me down. It's actually bringing out the worst in me. And I'm chuckling and laughing because since 2021, October of 2021, during my 3 days of mental health leave, I found out that I can give boundaries. And I started giving boundaries to people, letting them know that as of right now, I actually apologized to the people that I had been venting and complaining, because I was the venting and complaining leader. Okay, the committee, Tiff was the leading committee, and I didn't realize it was just part of the culture. And I started setting boundaries that in my vicinity, I don't allow complaining. I don't allow venting. Like, if you want to talk about, hey man, I'm having a really tough day, let's talk about it, but here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to sit there for hours and days on end complaining and repeating and rehashing the same thing, because it's like, gosh, pick a solution already. And if I give you a solution and you give me permission to give you a solution and you still want to complain about the problem, I'm just going to say, listen, boo, I love you, but this conversation is bringing out the worst in me, and the boundaries that I have already set with you, they're not changing. So let's either change the conversation, or I'm just going to put my earbuds in, because now the conversation is bringing the worst out in me, and I've worked really hard to get to this place to keep my peace. So let's talk about something else. That's a boundary. And if you want to continue having this conversation, I'm going to ask that the complaining stops. Otherwise, I'm going to take a step back. I'm either going to walk away, or I'm going to put in my earbuds and listen to music while you collect your thoughts, and then we can talk about something else. That is a boundary. And that lets people know how to treat me, because I'm like, listen, I don't want that in my vicinity. I love you. And if you desire to be in my vicinity, complaining and tearing me down with you, is not allowed. Sorry. Sorry, boo. That's how I operate. Most people don't like it. In fact, some have gotten really angry and have left my vicinity for good. And I'm like, well, okay. You know where I stand. When you are ready to follow my boundaries and stick to my boundary line, then you can come back in my vicinity. And I pray that you have the kahunas, whatever, cojones, yes, there it is, to set some boundaries for yourself, and know that you're okay to set boundaries, because you're worthy. You're worthy of peace. I have some stickers. I need a drink of water on my, I'm going to show it to you right here. It says protect your energy. You're worthy of having your energy protected. And that goes with everybody. Family, coworkers, friends, siblings, cousins, children, spouses. Boundaries. That's another video. But the ideal team player, they know how to recognize like when people are not available, right? They know how to recognize, they're like people smarts, right? You see how busy someone is, or you see if somebody is having a bad day. That is where you do not just go up and start giving them all of your crap that's going wrong. You stop and assess and say, hey, I see that you're having a tough moment. Can I give you a hug? Or I pray, and this is what I say to people all the time. In fact, it's just a prayer. People don't really know that I'm praying, but they usually respond with, hey Tiff, thanks for praying over me. Because all I say is, you know what? I pray your day goes much better. I pray that you have an amazing day. And you know what? You're doing awesome. Keep it up. By the way, that is what I would rather hear than somebody coming up to me and dumping all of their negative crap, because now they have ruined my day. I mean, no, let me rephrase that. Now I don't allow people to ruin my day, but that's like the shit that gets added to the crap. And now my cup is depleted. Thanks for depleting my cup. It's like, do you not see that, number one, I'm busy. Number two, I'm having a bad moment, and you decide to use that moment to come up and dump on me all of your crap? Absolutely not. Have some people smarts. By the way, I'm giving you the top 3 ways to be a team player, which is humility, people smarts, and you gotta stay hungry. The moment people lose hunger on a job and they stay comfortable and they lose, let me rephrase this. I don't know why I keep talking about jobs, but I guess we're going to go here for a second. It's easy to say, yeah, Tiff, I'm a team player on a job and I just go and I clock in. But there are those who clock in and they have stopped staying hungry. They have stopped wanting to learn more. They have become annoyed with the processes. They've become annoyed with the environment. They've become very annoyed with how things are going or lack thereof. And it becomes one big snowball of complaining, negativity, venting, and then you find that's what everybody is doing, and you're like, oh my gosh, what happened to this freaking environment? If you are, I'm going to use percenters. If you are like of the 1 or 2%, these are the people that are called the thermostats. They don't go into environments to allow the environment to change them. They go into environments to change them. So if you are that person, if you look around and you're like, oh, I refuse to allow your lack of people smarts and humility to weigh me down, I am going to purposefully raise the vibe, because that's what I do. And I'm literally, that's what I do. I'm a thermostat, not a thermometer. And so if you are of a different breed, which you know you'll be, because it can feel lonely when you don't participate in a lot of the other stuff. And people will try to drag you into their stuff. They will try to have conversations with you, but these conversations are fruitless. They're not life-giving. They are full of complaining, full of venting, full of things that you're obviously needing to work on behind the scenes, but now you've brought that into work or into the team, and now you are tearing down the team. Thermostats don't like that. Thermostats would prefer that if you have nothing better to say, just quiet. That's the part of being like smart, right? Being part of a team is like knowing and having that awareness. Yes, have that awareness that something is going wrong. Hey, Julie, how's it going, gorgeous? Knowing that something is off, right? But then it's also having the awareness of, okay, what do I need right now? What does the environment need right now? And what am I going to do so that I don't get sucked into this vacuum of like negativity? Gosh, it's just, So this is a book I recommend that you get. You can listen to it. It's probably in Spotify. I don't know. His name is Patrick Lencioni with a C. I know this is backwards, but that's the book. Okay? It's an amazing book. And there's like a quiz in the back of the book. And so just a little bit of an example of what I'm talking about, because it's like, Tiffany, what the heck does humble, hungry, and people smarts have to do with being a team player? Okay, there's 3 virtues. Humble. They are quick to point out the contributions of others and slow to seek attention for their own. They share credit, emphasize team over self, and define success collectively rather than individually. It is no great surprise then that humility is the single greatest and most indispensable attribute of being a team player. They reluctantly hire self-centered people and then justify it. Non-humble means that there's arrogant behavior and a failure to confront it. Okay. Staying hungry. Hungry people are always looking for more things to do, more to learn, more responsibility to take on. Hungry people almost never have to be pushed by a manager to work harder because they are self-motivated and diligent. It is not difficult to understand. They're constantly thinking about the next step. And they loathe the idea that they might be perceived as slackers. So staying hungry, it could be staying hungry in your own life as well, not just in the environment. Staying hungry to learn about yourself, learn your emotions, learn your energy levels. I tell people this all the time. Learn your energy level so that you are aware of what your capacity is before you step foot somewhere so you don't bring the energy down of the whole place. Lack of humility looks like this. Overtly arrogant people who make everything about them. They are easy to identify because they tend to boast and soak up attention. Yeah. And these are the people who lack self-confidence but are generous and positive with others. They tend to discount their own talents and contributions, and so others mistakenly see them as humble, but it's not humility. I'm going to read the last one. So, staying hungry can help you learn how to continuously stay humble because you're constantly learning about yourself. Getting a mentor, getting into a mastermind, something that I lead I actually walk my clients through, learning their energy levels. I learned this. No, be very aware of your energy. Us women, we have what's called 4 seasons, right? No, we have periods, but before we get to the period, we have spring, summer, fall, and winter, right? We have 3 seasons before we get to the winter season, which is our period. Just be aware of your energy level when you go into any environment in a team. Okay? So this is SMART. Last one. And it's not about intellectual capacity. Like, I don't care how much college anyone goes to, it doesn't make you smart. I really don't care, because then it just turns into a bunch of information, and it's like, last I checked, I don't really care what your E equals MC squared. You know, if you want to talk about school, great. Please don't hear what I'm not saying. I actually love to hear how people are doing in their lives and be like, hey, how's school going? If I know you're going to school, because I want to know. I am the person who doesn't care if you're good. I care beyond the good. So good is a normal response, but for me, I know that people are lying. And I know that more lies beyond, oh, Tiffany, I'm good. No. How are you really? I am the one who catches people off guard. I just did it a few months ago with somebody at my job. They stopped, they turned around, and I could see that it was hard for them to fathom that somebody actually cared about their mental state. That's the kind of conversations I'd have. I love to have. Not the superficial, oh, hey, Tiffany, how are you? Oh, I'm good. Oh, good, so great. And it's like, no, really, here's how I'm really doing. I tell people. Somebody recently asked me, hey, Tiffany, how are you? And I said, I'm up-leveling. I'm calibrating. And they looked like I was an alien. I was like, oh, well, you asked. Don't ask if you don't want to know, okay? So, SMART simply refers to a person's common sense about people. It has everything to do with the ability to be interpersonally appropriate and aware. It's also, some might refer to this as emotional intelligence, which wouldn't be a bad comparison. Smart people just have good judgment and intuition about the subtleties of group dynamics and the impact of their words and actions. Smart simply refers to a person's common sense about people. So there's the word emotional intelligence. I put this in a post in my stories about emotional intelligence. Having emotional intelligence in every area of our life spills over to a team. Because when I just can't, I could camp out here forever. I think, you know what I personally think, and I personally believe, is that I was called to jobs to make a difference, not just to stay there to work. Don't get me wrong, a paycheck is amazing. I love getting a paycheck. In fact, I've had a 29% increase in my pay since 2020. Okay, so there's that too. So go and look at your W-2s and compare how much increase you have gotten in the last 3 years with your pay, 2 years, and you will see that you've had an increase. And then people will be less likely to complain about how much money they're not getting. And I'm like, you just closed the door to abundance, Sister Friend or Mr. Friend. Anyway, I believe I was called to disrupt environments. I was called to disrupt the status quo. And I've said this at the beginning of my video. I was called to disrupt the way things are. Well, it's just the way things have always been done. Yeah, but how's that really working? And so I don't mind being a disruptor, but I truly believe wholeheartedly that I was called to environments to shift them. It's not an easy task, and it's not always welcomed. But shift, I have met a lot of opposition, and you can probably attest to that, my friend, who's watching. But it's not just the environment that I go as my career. It's literally every environment. I have met a lot of opposition, and it's not always easy doing the thing you have been called to do, because many will. And it can feel a little bit lonely sometimes when you know that you are of a different breed. You feel like an alien. You feel like you're left out. People don't always want to conversate with you because they know that you're not about all the stuff, all the opposite stuff that I talked about, right? I gave some great examples. And I encourage you, get this book. It's called The Ideal Team Player by Patrick Lencioni. And don't just read it just to read it. Don't just read it just to get knowledge. Read it and really meditate on it. How can I add, even if the environment that I go to, even if I've outgrown it, it could be any environment. It could even be your house. And I'm not talking about leaving your family. I'm talking about maybe literally the place that you live in, you've outgrown, and you're like, we need something else, like stat, right? Really chew on the concepts of what it's like to be a team player. I still will not use the word loosely. I don't consider... There are very few people that I consider and see as a team player. And this is where I might lose some people, and that's okay. But there are a few people that I have surrounding me everywhere that I go that are a team player. And these are people that I know that I can have conversations with, and our cups are going to be filled. Our iron is going to be sharpened. We can talk about something, and we're not going to sit there in the negative for hours and days on end. We have a lot of fun. We have a lot of humor, laughter. I love seeing these people's faces because they add joy to my life. And it's like, yes, So it's nice to be around people who add to the team. And I tend to see some of the value that people bring is not noticed. And sometimes our value is taken for granted. And so what I see is there is value that you bring to the environment. So I'm talking to you, Miss Sarah. So you bring a lot of value, and you have a lot of joy, and so thank you so much for watching. By the way, how's your family? How's your family? Your littlest one? Oh my goodness, she's probably getting so big. They grow too fast. It's like I told my coworkers, I'm like, man, whenever babies are born, it's like a car. You take them off, you take them home, and then they still have value, right? Their value doesn't depreciate like a car, but it's like you take the kids off the car lot, you take them home, and then they just start growing. And it's like, well, if I wouldn't feed them, they wouldn't grow. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. That's so good. Don't forget to message me if you need anything, please. Okay? And And what does it mean to you to be an ideal team player? Like, really, if you really think about the things that I shared, and if you do decide to get the book, awesome. It's for your own, I don't want to say it's for your own good, but it's really for your own good. So that you can know, you can be like, oh, because when I got this book, it kicked my ass, because I'm like, oh, Tiff, you're not the team player you thought you were. It's okay. Where can we get better? So it just helped me to see where I needed to get better, so I don't have to pinpoint where everybody else needs to get better. Like, it's easy to pinpoint in others, right? I'll end with this. I'm kind of laughing because, as I mentioned, what I do outside, what I do behind the scenes is I get healed. I work on myself. And the more that we heal, what we heal from becomes very loud and evident in others, and it's just a normal part of the process. But one of the worst things to do is to sit there and pinpoint all the things that's wrong in other people, because it's like, oh, but it's great to have that awareness, and it's great to recognize, so you know what you've grown and healed from, so that way you don't keep going back to that. Girl, yes. Yeah, and you know what? It could be, since we're talking about jobs, yeah, it could be job, it could be in your life, people in your life too. I do know, and I'm going to brag on you for a little bit, I know that you give 100%. I know that. And you do make a difference. I know, because I've seen. So yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. Tag some people that you might think needs to hear an encouraging word. And this might not be a popular message, but it's one that I believe it's time to bring to the forefront. Amen? Time to bring to the scene. So with that being said, I love you. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll be excited to see your face when you come back. If you come back. Or outside. Outside of that place. Okay? Alrighty. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day and week. And we shall pick this back up soon. Okay. Bye.